Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's 1 o'clock, and I'm John Russell. I'm stuck at home. So we have a unique situation today. Chris Maddock is scheduled to come in with me, but I just got a message from him a little bit ago. His wife's business is actually on Lake Street, and they want to check it out. As many of you that are watching from Minnesota know, Minneapolis is really suffering right now, and for those of you that are out of the Minneapolis area, I'm not going to listen to that one. There was a situation, of course, where a man named George Floyd was basically choked to death by one of the policemen kneeling on his neck for approximately 9 minutes. And all of those police have been fired. There were 4 of them, but they are not charged with anything at this point. The city attorney and the FBI are investigating, and I think the frustration level for people has got to be insanely high. If you watched any of the news, there's a little bit about it, but not much. I do not recall yeah, cool. Hold on here. All right, sorry about that. Yeah, let me see here a minute. Here he is. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Chris Maddock. There he is, the old mad dogger himself. I was just explaining, Chris, to everybody that your wife's business is on Lake Street, and you may not be able to stay very long because you guys want to go and check out what's going on down there. Oh. So, Chris, I'm having a hard time hearing you. I don't know if your mic is on or muted. Give that a quick check. Yeah. Are you on your phone? Okay. So if you go into your settings, you just have to allow this StreamYard to use your microphone. All right. No worries. He'll get that taken care of, and we'll be right back. But anyway, hello there. Hopefully he'll be back soon, and we'll be able to talk with him. It's a very scary situation in Minneapolis. A lot of buildings were damaged. A lot of them burned, and I know my in-laws are halfway between where the Target 3rd precinct is. There we are. Better? Nope, guess not. But so they're up in that. They're on 38th Street. If you know where Minneapolis is, you know where that stuff is. They're over kind of between there. But anyway, so it's a kind of a turbulent time. One of the things I saw one of my friends, and you guys have heard me talk about her a lot, Wendy Mayberry, was talking this morning about just the fact that, when we're doing this, we're trying to keep people's mind off of things, try to give them a little bit of an outlet. Hi, Cindy. Good to see you. Thanks for looking in. And it's not that we don't recognize that things are going on, and particularly here in Minneapolis. We recognize it's going on, but we still have to do what our job is, and it's a difficult situation. But Chris's wife is a very, very talented tattoo artist and has a shop on Lake Street, and so he may or may not be able to be with us for very long when he can get in. But having said that, he is one of the most talented guys I've ever met. He's a great musician. He's a fantastic comedian. And in fact, when we had the World Series of Comedy down in Rochester at Goonies Comedy Club a few years ago, he won the whole thing, which is very fantastic. And the fellow that won the national contest, actually, that was held in Las Vegas, was second behind Chris. So Chris is very, very talented. As I mentioned in the description, one of the co-founders of the Minneapolis Comedy Death Squad, one of the founding members of critically acclaimed sketch group out of Minneapolis called the Turkeys. And I believe you can still see some of the Turkeys material on a website. So anyway, hold on. I'm going to do one quick thing here, and we'll see if we can get Mr. Chris in here with us quick. I am assuming he's got an iPhone. So anyway, for those of you that are there, thank you so much. We appreciate it very, very much. Behind me today is the Los Angeles International Airport, of course, because of the pandemic, not a whole lot of action going on there, but every once in a while you see a plane coming in and out over my shoulder. At any rate, so that's what we're doing tonight. If you've got nothing to do, or if you're looking some different entertainment, I and 5 other folks will be playing a sort of match game. Some of you remember Logan Nielsen that's been on with me. There we are. Hello, Chris. Nope, didn't do it. Nope. Yeah, he's Chris, I don't know if you can still hear me. It might work if you leave and come back in again now after you change those settings. Chris, it might work. There we go. You heard me that time. So we'll give that a shot, and hopefully you'll pop back in here and it'll work. And if it doesn't, we'll get it figured out. As you can understand, it's very stressful right now for Chris and his family. He's got a young son, and his wife has a business on Lake Street in Minneapolis, and they want to go and survey if there's any damage to their business. That's one thing. I don't believe that if there's damage, I don't think anybody calls you unless they go by or they know you. I don't think that happens. So it's kind of an odd situation, but my hope is for everybody that's up there, please. I know many people who have gone up to the protests to document it, to participate in it. So my hope is that all of people that I know that are going up to do that stay safe. And I don't know about you guys. I end up getting, when something like this happens, I end up watching on a live stream, not necessarily the news media, because I don't know. There's something about somebody that's actually there and walking around and talking to people. And I feel like it gives you a better perspective than somebody who's, I don't want to say there to report, but they also have, I believe this, because I was in the media. I believe all media has a bias. And it could be as much as a personal bias. I mean, it's like, I can tell you, I mean, when I was working in the news department, myself, there are some things I'm like, yeah, don't want to talk about that. Don't want to report that. And it can be a bias that's very, very personal. And people's, you can try as hard as you would like to not have any bias. But I mean, ultimately, we all have biases. We all do. And it's, it's just one of those things. By the way, Chris, I don't know if you're watching or you're still trying to get in. If you can't get in, Chris, and if you have to go, that's fine. You and I will schedule this for another time, because I do really want to talk to you. And I think in this situation, you might be, better served to go and survey what's going on at your wife's business. But having said that, anyway, my media buddies, and Logan Nielsen, Tracy McCrae, Jeff Cecil, I don't remember how you say his name, from the Rochester Post Bulletin, Steve Lang. I think he's still with the Post Bulletin. I don't know. I haven't talked with him in a while. And Megan Kennedy. We'll be playing the match game, and you can watch that on the same place where you're watching right now. But we're going to play a match game at 7:00 tonight, Central Time. And I think it's going to be fun. I hope it's going to be fun, or it could be terrible. I don't know. Honestly, I just sort of dreamed it up. See, there's a plane coming in right over my shoulder. Kind of cool. So that's what we'll be doing there. Tomorrow, I'll have Logan on with me again, and Chris Schlichting, the Schlick Shopper. By the time we're out of the pandemic, we'll be able to do it. Here he is again.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Chris. You did it. God dang it. Awesome. Also, by the way, a very awesome headband.
No, can't do it anymore. Threw out my neck. Oh no, can you hear me now? I headbanged too hard. What happened? No.
Here we go. There we go. We just have a little internet glitch every once in a while.
Okay.
So cool. I was telling folks about your wife's business out on Lake Street, and you can stay as little or as long as you like. Whenever you feel like you want to go, you let me in. There he goes. But that's a nice picture in the background there. Gosh, buddy, how are you? I haven't seen you in so long.
I know, man. It's been a while. How you doing?
Pretty good. Aside from all this stuff, now I don't know what neighborhood you live in town. Obviously your wife's business is on Lake Street. But this, and I don't want to just talk about what's going on in Minneapolis, but I feel if we don't address it, we're not doing a service to anybody.
Right. No, we live like 4 blocks off of Lake Street.
Oh.
And so, not any danger, but you can hear everything and smell some stuff.
Oh man.
But her, she's not the owner of the business, but she's worked there for 20 years, and her, it's okay. Nothing happened last night, but I heard that the looting was going on in the like the liquor store across the street was on fire.
Oh yeah.
And they just, the owner, he just renovated the whole place, because of the during the shutdown, and so it's pretty crazy. So we're gonna go look at it and get the expensive stuff out of there, and
yeah,
like I don't know. What do you do?
I know it's a terrible situation. There's Mark Poulos wondering if you got a ponytail.
No, I've never had a ponytail, Mark Poulos.
You should know that, bald guy. Oh my
That is
gosh.
the manliest hairstyle is bald.
Well, yeah, because it's chock full of testosterone, baby.
Yep.
So I'm curious. I've already mentioned to folks that you got a young son, and
Yep.
I'm wondering how, aside from all this stuff, well, of course, I wonder how he's taken all of this stuff, because you can hear it and see it all at home.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't know anything about that last night, but it's just that he's only had any play dates online. He's
Oh,
been playing. He plays Roblox with his friends on the pad. We're lucky like that. Like, at least he can do that.
yeah,
But yeah, and then some of his friends are like they're having play dates, like even like 3 weeks ago and stuff, and it's like I've taken my wife to the ER before for breathing issues. It's like we
yeah,
can't mess around with this stuff. So
right, right.
so he's 8, so it's hard to understand like why he can't go out, and it's like, well, they're not supposed to be either, but he's got it. He's playing with his friends on the every day. It's just, it's screen time is up, but it's the only interaction he gets with his friends. So
Well, and that's it's one of those things where it's like, if he's not doing it, he's doing nothing, right? So
yeah,
I would say that's probably acceptable.
or I have to hang out with him.
There you go. I'm go ahead.
Oh no, just we get outside time. Teach him to cook as much as he wants to learn. That kind of stuff, and new video games. We got this game called Throw Burrito. It's basically like dodgeball with these little soft burritos.
Oh wow.
So we've just been hucking burritos at each other. It's like a burrito war.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get that for my grandson, and then he can throw stuff at me, and then I can leave.
Grandpa.
Yeah, how about that?
That's great.
Oh my gosh. So, do you remember, Chris, the last show you did before all this pandemic stuff happened?
Yeah, I went. Casey Fletch and I went to North Dakota. We went to, we were like in the North Dakota. We were like up by Grand Forks.
Oh yeah.
He put together these 2 shows, and they were really fun. And it was right when like the cruise ships were kind of. It was like, oh, there's some cruise ships out there with the COVID coming back, and it was like I was talking to you're up north, and this guy was like, oh, we were just on a cruise ship, and I like go, okay, whoa, and he goes, oh, come on. He goes, oh, come on. And it was like I knew, like right then I knew, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a political thing.
Oh, shoot, you're locked up. He'll come back here in a minute, I think. Or he said, or he won't. But anyway, I want to hear that story. Much cleaner than real burritos. There we go. You just the internet just froze us up a little bit there again.
Man.
No worries.
Yeah. So I don't know where I left off. The guy was on the cruise ship. I just made a joke, like, okay, whoa, and he, he's like, oh, come on. This is what he said. It's not that kind of cruise. As if they book COVID cruises or something.
Oh my God. Well,
I assumed it wasn't purposely a disease-filled cruise.
You never know. You never know.
Yeah. Yes,
oh my God.
Weird vacations.
Yeah. So now I know that you have been doing a show with your wife, a weekly show where you're going through material and she's your audience. It's hilarious.
Yeah, right on. Thank you. Yeah, it's the continuation of the Death Comedy Jam. It's an open mic on the couch where she's the audience. I believe I'm the only comedian during the shutdown on Earth who has a show with a live audience.
You might well be.
I might be. But yeah, she's got an infectious loud laugh, and she. So I would do that anyway. try my jokes on the couch out on her, so
Yeah.
we just doing what we normally do. And we were doing it on Instagram, but I'm going to move it to Twitch this coming Wednesday. We're going to be on Twitch for sure.
Very nice.
Wednesdays at 9. Yeah.
Wednesdays at 9:00.
Yep.
And folks, you really want to watch it because it's a lot of fun. You get that interplay that you can only get between a husband and a wife.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's super fun. Yeah. I get to tell it she's a good sport. So I can, you start off a joke with, don't you hate when your wife,
she's just next.
Yeah.
So tell us a little, because I mentioned to folks that you were one of the founding members of the very popular Minneapolis Comedy Death Squad with Wayne and Patrick.
Yep.
How did you guys decide you wanted to start that group? And I know the story, but I'm asking so you'll tell us.
Yeah. No, I get it. Well, I was doing the open mic at Grumpy's, and I thought they were going to close it. So I thought they were going to shut it down because no one was showing up. So I called it the Death Comedy Jam, like the Deaf Comedy Jam. It's the Death Comedy Jam because it's going down. And that was 13 years after it went away. So, but or before, that was 13 years before. But so then we had Death host the show. Where Wayne was he dressed as the Grin Reaper, thank you. And I did the voice from the back, so I had a microphone in the back of the room in secret, and then he would just do the movements and stuff. You couldn't see his face, and we would use all the jokes that Patrick were too bad for Patrick's act, but still in his notebook. So my girlfriend's so fat, and. We go, say ex-wife, it's funnier. And so then we called ourselves the Minneapolis Comedy Death Squad. Because there was the there was the Texas Comedy Outlaws with Bill Hicks and Jimmy Pineapple and Ron Schock. And so we were the Minneapolis Comedy Death Squad, which I didn't know that there was already a Comedy Death Squad with some more famous people, but whatever.
Doesn't make any difference. It was still awesome.
Yeah, so that open mic, it went for 15 years every week, and I'm terrible at recording and taking pictures and all that. But when Grumpy's closed, we still did the open mic. We still went down there. We brought a generator, and we put we were outside of the bar and in the back by the patio, and we had a generator with a spotlight and a microphone, and we went there. And then when they fenced it off, I have pictures of Death breaking in the fence. And then we went and did the open mic. And then when the place was rubble, there's a picture of me where the stage used to be with Jeff Foser in the audience. So we never stopped. And then whenever this condo or whatever is there opens, we're going to go in, and I'm going to say the same thing that I said to any table that was in the room 10 minutes before show. Would love it if you stay, but we do a show here every Wednesday, and we're going to start in 10 minutes. Happy if you stay. Doing it a while. And but so Ian Rands made a documentary over the 15 years. I didn't know he was doing this. Yeah, I thought he was just filming stuff and whatever. He made a documentary. It's coming out in a week or two. City Pages is going to push it out. Yeah, I'm tickled to death because I was like, I have almost no record of anything that happened there. And he's got video of the 10-year anniversary and a bunch of the last show. And so look for City Pages. It's amazing. I just got off the phone with the guy from City Pages, and
that's exciting.
Yeah.
I will definitely look forward to that.
I'm excited.
I was going to say, now you're also one of the founding members of the critically acclaimed sketch group, The Turkeys.
Yeah.
And you go ahead.
Oh, you can find those videos on YouTube. My Damn Channel was the thing that we were on the most, and those are on YouTube. So you can, and then if you just Google Turkey, I think the website is turkeyscomedy.net. But if you just YouTube Turkey's Comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the group is literally, yeah, Cindy, I'll track it down and I'll put a link in the comments here once the show's done. Literally the group was, in the people that were using in the sketches, literally a who's who of Minneapolis comedy at the time. I mean, Isaac and Gus and Chris.
Who? Yeah, see?
Chris Maddock, of course. But the other Chris, and I can't remember, that did the deal with Zach.
Yeah, Chris Knutson.
Chris Knutson, that's it.
Yeah.
And I think he had, among other, but I think he had Chell and
Gabe was the leader.
Yeah.
Did you say Gabe already?
That's right. I didn't say Gabe, but I know, yeah, because Gabe really was pushing it. And of course now he's doing the podcast and studio stuff. And I think are you going to do a show with him as well?
Yeah, we're doing this I'm doing a podcast about working in restaurants. But it's kind of more of a TV show, but it's a video podcast.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been doing along with the show on the couch, which is the Till Death. My wife named it, by the way, the Till Death Comedy Jam.
Perfect.
We're doing a show called Servitude about working in restaurants.
Very nice.
And we're trying to, we're trying to get people in there that are, we were working on it for a long time before all this COVID stuff happened. So that is such a devastating thing to the industry that it's like, it kind of feels weird to put all this stuff out that doesn't even mention it, because it's like, it all seems almost irrelevant now, but it's about working in restaurants. But I like to talk to people who have never worked in restaurants and get everyone's take on it. It's not just like one of those like waiter pet peeve kind of shows. We review people's, we do reviews of people's Yelp reviews.
Oh, very nice.
And we have a lot of segments. So we have we'll go on the Facebook waiter groups and stuff, and talk about that, and talk about just like the interaction between the cooks in the front of the house. And one thing I was doing was I might have left my phone microphone on sometimes. So you get to hear a little live wire kind of stuff of like what being treated in a way that you might not know if you weren't ever working in a restaurant or something like that.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. So let me ask you, because I've known you for a long time. You were one of the first guys. I believe you were the feature act one of the first times I ever got to MC. Way back when, and I can't remember even who the headliner was, but I remember that you were the feature. So when you started doing comedy, what was there any one thing that said, "Hey, I think I want to give this a try"? Or,
well, it was the fact that I was working at that bar, Grumpy's, where we had the open mic, but I had only done comedy a handful of times, and they wanted to start an open mic, so they offered that I could host it. And I might not have stuck with it had it not been for that, but I was, because I was terrified every week. It was like 2 years of just like, my gut was wrenching every Wednesday. I'd have to go up, and I didn't feel like I was part of the community, and I was really bad, and I could never tell the same joke twice. And I don't know, I was angry and drunk, and it just was, but like, it's apparently at some point it turned into fun, but I don't know if I would have stuck with it if it wasn't for that. But I got a kick out of like being able to get paid a little bit for something that wasn't like bar backing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so when I first met you, you did jokes that were very, very funny. And then as you progress, and then you did an album. Then and then so after that album came out, I believe, have you done two albums? Did you do another album with music?
Yeah, I recorded another album. It's just got a song at the beginning and a song at the end, and it's a
Okay.
stand-up album. But it'll be coming out, this year. I sat on it for a while, but it's getting done now, and it's called Country Music Legend, and it's I got a band that we play a song at the beginning and at the end, so we open and close the show with music.
Very
And,
nice.
I got a suit with my name on it.
Very nice. Yes, because you've used that guitar in some of your act now lately, haven't you?
Yeah, I was doing that for a while, and I've always wanted to do that. But I don't sit down and write a lot of comedy music. I just like once in a while, if it comes to me, I'll do one. But it's more like I'd rather just like play regular songs and then do comedy. Have you ever gone to see like a musician and they go, I had Cheerios for breakfast this morning, and everyone's like, oh my God. Like it's like if a drywall guy's funny, it's just like, I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
Like, so I was like, oh, I'm going to do that. But you have to get good at playing the songs first. I found out there's no free lunch.
Absolutely.
So that's actually, excuse me, that's part of the Till Death Comedy Jam. My wife and I try out the new stuff, and we'll like take questions from the audience, and we'll talk with the people watching, and then at the end we screw up one song.
Beautiful.
Then it's
you gotta love that.
Yeah. No, I like playing music, but it's I get, when I play with musicians, they appreciate how hard I try.
I love the way that sounds. But now music actually kind of runs in your family, right? Your grandfather was a recording artist as well, wasn't he?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He was, he's a pretty legendary guy. Red Maddock. He was, I actually just found a tape. Well, I knew I had this tape. I have a lot of tapes and stuff of his music. He's a jazz man. He played on the Prairie Home Companion for the last 9 years of his life as part of the Hall Brothers Jazz Band. But he was he lived in New York and Chicago. He played with he jammed with all the greats back in the day. He grew up in he was born in 1916, and then so through the 1920s and 30s he was like I just found this tape of him telling his life story.
Oh wow.
So yeah, it was amazing. So I'm gonna make something with that and put it out for people. But it's basically he would that was back when they had like 16 kids, but he talks about that everyone had like this ungodly amount of kids, like they were living on a farm, but they weren't. And he talks about they're living in a shack. I mean, this is like the 20s and 30s, Great Depression.
Yeah.
And they're living in a shack in Minneapolis. And he would take a streetcar when he was 12 years old. About 12 years old. Then he would go down to where Acme is now. And there would be jazz clubs. And one time a guy came out, and he brought him back to one of the jazz men, of the leader of the band, brought him back. He was too young to be in the club, so they brought him back to the kitchen, gave him some French fries, and then he said, I can sing. And so they let him come out and sing a song, and the people threw him all this money that he swept it up with a broom.
Oh,
and
wow.
He brought it home. This was like a legendary story in my family, and I got to hear him tell it on this tape. It was amazing.
Oh my God.
He brought it home to his mom, who's from Sweden, and she said, oh, Georgie, did you steal this money? Where did you get it? He's like, no, Mom, I sang, and people threw all this money at me. Next morning, he's got a suit pressed, ready for him. She's go get him again. And so he was out on the road when he was 12, 13, 14 years old. He was called Little Red, and he would sing. If you look up that song Mares Eat Oats.
Yeah.
You ever hear that one?
Yeah.
Mares. It's Mairzy. And then a second word is DOATS, Mares Eat Oats. It's Mares Eat Oats, but Mersey dotes and does it. There's a great recording of him on YouTube singing that in like 1944.
Oh my God.
With Al Trace and but he was then he found a guy. This is like Crossroads blues stuff. He found like this, like he met a drunk when he was 20 years old, and he was singing in bands. He always loved the drums, and he tried to play the drums. And when he was 20 years old, he met this drunk. This guy was shaking. He said he's shaking so bad. He said he got the whammies. That's what he called the shakes back in the day. He said, "Oh, yeah. he got the whammies. My old man told me, you see a man shaking like that, you get him a drink right away, help him out. That guy needs it, which is true."
Yeah.
And so he got this old drunk that he met in a bar, a drink, and bought him a sandwich. I took an advance on my pay. I was playing there every night. I got $2. I got him a drink and a sandwich. Because back in like the 30s, when you were a severe alcoholic, that's all you needed was a drink and a sandwich.
Yeah.
You're set. Greatest generation. So then the guy gave him his card, and he was the drummer for the St. Paul Orchestra.
Oh my God.
And so that guy, my grandpa said every day I'd bring him a half a pint of booze because I drink the other half. I bring him back. That's the one. Thank you, Andy Fisher.
Andy Fisher is like my unpaid intern that finds stuff that we talk about.
That's amazing. And so he bring the guy a half a pint of booze, and the guy would give him an hour and a half drum lesson.
Wow.
And then he turned into a jazz drummer. He played with Charlie Parker once, and
oh wow.
Yeah, there was a jazz scene in the 50s, 60s, 70s in St. Paul, the Emporium, and across the street from where Little Tijuana is now, there was the Artist Quarter. That was, it ended up in St. Paul, and it closed recently, but he used to play there. And he was he got fired from a gig at Mancini's because he would do his trick where he would flip a stick and everyone go woo, and then he'd flip it higher, do a drum solo, and the third time he'd flip it up, the band would stop, and he'd let the stick hit him in the head, and when it hit him in the head, he'd hit the cymbal and spit his dentures out. And he got fired because they said they were choking on their steaks. So I come from a long line of censored performers.
Oh my God. Well, Chris, one of the things that I like to ask everybody that have come on with me, and you've been at this a while.
I'm not going to blow you.
I don't want that. What? Well, maybe we'll talk. But I would like to know if you have one great hell gig or two that maybe are just like so memorable, you'll say this is the worst show that ever happened to me.
Oh man, it's easier to pick out the good ones.
It is.
No. There was one that I thought was once me and Gus Lynch went to Plaza, North Dakota.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Plaza was like, so when you drive through North Dakota in the winter and it's just like flat white snow, and it said there was a sign that said "Welcome to Plaza," and it was just nothing. It was like like an arbitrary marker of just in the middle of nothing. Like, oh, we drew a line in the snow, and now you're here. And we drove around like there is no town. Like is it under the snow? Like where is it? And we saw like this little looked like a settlement out in the distance. We're like, okay, so we drive on this snowy road and a minivan, and we get out there, and it's like 22 houses and a prefab box that's a bar, and the water tower. It said Plaza 1904 to 2004, as though the town had died or something. Like it was like a tombstone. Like why? And so we went in this bar, and it was just like no one. There was no one that I mean, I've had more gigs like this than I'll admit, but this one was particularly like no one would say hello to us. We clearly didn't belong there. Like no one's just like coming there for fun. And we finally found the owner, and it was just like yeah, all right. Well, he goes, you're gonna want to check into your hotel. It's gonna be the best thing for you. That's what he said. And He was tweaking. He had one of those. He had this beard where it's like, you know how there's space between your lip some places and
Yep.
hair. He had none. It was like Wolfman. It was just like completely like a kid would draw a beard that who'd never seen a beard before. It was like so weird. And he was tweaky, you know, and he was just like, and and there was a library that was boarded up. It was like closed due to lack of interest or something. And so we go there, and he sat us down at this table, and so Gus and I were facing each other. You know how when you sit at a table, this guy was completely 90 degrees facing toward me, like right next to me, while I was looking at Gus, and we were just laughing as we were talking to the guy, like this guy's just gonna, like, this is so weird. And he goes, "That's a stage right there." The stage was, it was 4 cinder blocks with a piece of plywood on top. like the definition of rinky dink, I think was, you know, it was invented with 4. And so before the show, we go, you know, "Hey man, there's a lot of cats running around outside." He goes, "You saw one?" And he reached behind the door and he grabbed a BB gun, and then he shot a cat.
Oh man.
He shot a cat. And so then we were doing the show, and there's a video, there's like a 1.5 minute video. I think it's somewhere buried on my Facebook, where Gus took it just to prove to his wife that we were doing what we said we were doing, because she just didn't believe, like, you're going where to do what? That doesn't sound right. And I don't blame her at all. And but there's this video of, like, I just wasn't talking because no one was listening. So I was just sitting up there, and then I just started reciting, like, words. I was like, "There's a table," you know, and then at one point, they didn't turn off the TVs or the sound.
Oh man.
And so at one point, all these guys, they had their back to me at the bar. And at one point, this old guy with his hat, he turns on, he goes, "Well, I'm funnier than this fucking guy." Is that loud?
Oh man.
And,
Plaza, North Dakota. Don't play there, folks.
Oh, you know, that was all right.
You still got paid, right?
Yeah, I got paid.
That's the best part of it, right?
Yeah, well, all the ones I could mention were in North Dakota. There was one show that got stopped, or in the middle of the show. Somebody told this restaurant in Fargo that I had a lot of restaurant jokes, so they hired me for their Christmas party. And I went up there, and in the email she said, "And you can say whatever you want," which I know means no, you can't. People we love dirty jokes. No, you don't. You you like to think you're cool. But so I that was fine. I knew I wasn't gonna do anything weird or anything. But then when I got there, it's a restaurant in a hotel, and she goes, once again, she goes, "And seriously," she goes, "you can say whatever you want. We have lesbians that work here." Which, you know, is just known for their sense of humor.
That gives you carte blanche.
Those lesbians are just, they're just ready to laugh at whatever. They're just pretty chill. They're known for it. And I mean, which I've done, you know, it's not the lesbians, it's the woman. Like I did comedy in a lesbian bar. The only person who was mad at me was the only straight girl there. It was, you know, the other lesbians were like, "I don't know who she is," but lesbians are great. But so anyway, I told a joke about my brother, who is transgender, used to be my sister, and it has the word lesbian in it. It's completely pro my brother, the joke is, but it had the word lesbian in it, and everyone was looking at the owner. They were scared to death of her, and she was like, everyone stopped laughing, to the point where I had to stop the show and just be like, "Look, clearly there's been a misunderstanding. I'm going to tell that joke again because you didn't listen to it." "No, you're not." And like, I go, "Well, I'm not going to just stand up here while everyone's like," I go, "I'm sorry, but everyone's scared of you because you're so mad at me right now for no good reason." And she goes, "Then be done." And I just was like, "I'm still getting paid." And she's like, fine. And I put the mic down. I mean, I was shaking. I mean, I'm not like,
Yeah.
I don't think this is cool. I'm like, this is terrifying. I'm like, oh my God. Like everyone's like, we're so sorry. And I just like walked out in shame. Like,
Oh
but
God.
I didn't do anything wrong. I just like, so
Yeah.
yeah, maybe you're right. Don't play North Dakota. I don't know.
Never. Wow.
I'll go back.
I lived up in Fargo for 10 years, and but I lived in Fargo. And Fargo really is just it's the westernmost chunk of Minnesota.
Yeah, it's the Austin of North Dakota.
Exactly. There you go. All right. So we ask you about a couple of hell gigs. Tell me, if you can, the one time that you were on top of the world doing comedy, your absolute best experience doing comedy to this point.
Well, you know, I got to do a show at First Ave in the main room once. That was awesome. There's a show after Soundset, the hip hop festival that the Rhyme Slayers and everyone do every year, and I got invited to do a set like kind of before, like to open up that. They have a show. It's like a show after the big festival that they have, and so that was always a dream to get to do a real show at the main stage of First Ave. So that was awesome. And I don't know, you know, anytime I got to go out with friends, I mean, not to sound cheesy, but you know, just you're in the car with your friends is always awesome. I performed at the, I won a little contest it was like a political comedy contest when the the Democratic National Convention, I think, was in Minnesota that year in 2008. And so I got to perform at the Ordway.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for like opening for like Jim David and who's the guy? Who's that guy who does all those? James Adomian.
Oh, yeah.
Impressions, yeah. So he was doing George Bush, and I got to do that. So I got to, you know, invite my dad down to that and do the, perform at the Ordway. And I worked at Jimmy John's that day too. So I was like, that's my claim to fame, is that I'm the only person alive who's worked at Jimmy John's and performed at Ordway in the same day.
And that's a good thing. It's a good thing. Oh my gosh. So we got one question here. If anybody is watching, you got any questions for Chris, fire him off and we'll let him get on about his business. Large Marge wants to know, what's more fun for you, the open mic or paid gigs? Do you have more fun running the Def Comedy Jam or?
Yeah. You know, either more fun, that's up for grabs, I suppose. You know, open mics are more fun probably because you get to see all your friends.
Yep.
But you know, paid gigs are probably more fun just because you get to go, you know, really stretch out and do your thing.
Yeah.
But so as far as the comedy portion, probably paid gigs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And there's a little bit of a lag, so some questions may take a while if they come. You know how it is.
Yeah.
So do you have other than the Till Death show? Do you have anything else? Have you been doing any of the virtual open mics at all?
Yeah, I did Ollie Sultan's things a couple times and the Monday Night Comedy Show.
Yeah.
And what else? I think just those things. And then doing the servitude thing. I'm gonna start working on that more. I've been working at the restaurant, and I just recently told them I'm not coming back. I wasn't sure I was gonna get hired back anyway, but so yeah, it's kind of like I'm like, I better get to work on something here. But I've always been kind of a Luddite and never was into technology. So I got the computer and I've been doing videos and editing and stuff like that. So I think I'm going to be putting out a lot of that stuff, the Till Death and just lots of clips and maybe sketches and stuff. And hopefully, I don't know, some people seem to be able to turn that stuff into money. So maybe I could do that. But I mean, everything's so up in the air. It's crazy. What about you? Is Goonies opening soon or?
Well, I believe we were going to try to open on June 6th. I don't think that's going to happen because the other part is too. I don't know if you've been down to the new Goonies. Oh, you have. Because it's inside that Crooked Pint restaurant. We're kind of at their mercy a little bit. But I did just see that the mayor of Rochester sent a letter to the governor, and she had a plan laid out for how restaurants in Rochester could open differently. And because the Mayo Clinic was there, they thought they could handle it differently. And so we'll see if that happens. If that happens, things will go different. I do know that when Goonies opens back up, it's going to be at smaller capacity, of course. And I've already talked with Mark Clampy about streaming the shows as well. Hopefully people will still watch. But I mean, we're just to the point where, we got to be open before we can do anything. So it's kind of a pain in the neck. Right. Enjoy watching your show to see people I have never seen. Thank you, Cindy. Never saw Chris. Cindy watches us from Alabama. Chris. Oh, nice. So awesome. And she'll. I'll tell you what. I'm sure she'll look up that link and start watching some of your stuff as well. Oh my gosh. I mean, and here we are. We're getting close to an hour already, which I can't believe. But it's been so much fun to talk with you, and I'm so happy to see your happy smiling face, man. It's been
thank you. You too, man. It's really good to talk to you.
I'm trying to think the last time I got to work with you. I think was at New Hope about probably 5 years ago. I mean, it's like that's long. Anyway, all right, my friend. I appreciate it, and if there's anything that you want me to post up on here as far as your Twitch page or anything like that, send it to me in a messenger and I'll post it up for people to look.
I will for sure. I'm getting that figured out this week and I'll send it to you. Thank you so much.
Awesome. You betcha.
Thanks for watching, everyone. That's great.
And there's Donnie Lucifer. He watches. I don't even know where you're watching from, Don. So this is the thing, Chris. So the method that I use, we're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitter, and we're on Twitch. So we're on 4 different platforms. Twitch, Donnie's watching on Twitch. Denny cool. Ryan, great show. Holler if you get down to the Little D. Chris, he'd love to. Denny's a great supporter of comedy in general. So if you ever get down to Des Moines, let him know. I'm assuming that Denny, because Denny does this with a lot of the folks that are watching, he'll probably friend you and start commenting and liking stuff that you do, which is awesome. Denny's a great supporter.
That's awesome. So they comment and you get all the comments from all those sites? Yep.
It all congregates. Awesome. It's pretty cool. And you know what? It's nice because then I'm on it's like I'm CNN. I'm on I'm not like CNN. I'm more like a guy in his basement doing a show. But anyway,
that's what they are too, man. Don't
I know. I know. They don't wear pants. They don't wear pants. Cindy, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Cindy, nice to meet you too. Thanks.
Here's a quick question, and I know you got an opinion on this. Is political correctness killing comedy?
Nah, not anymore. We won.
There's who knows. At this point, it's not. It's sure not. But anyway, Chris, thank you so much for taking this much time with me, and I hope everything turns out okay at your wife's shop. Stay in touch with me, buddy, and let me know what's going on with you. We'll be happy to let people know.
Thank you. You do the same. Good to talk to you, John.
I sure will. All right, folks. Tonight we've got the match game at 7:00 with all of those radio folks, Logan Nielsen, and so we hope you'll tune in at 7. And tomorrow will be John gets another bottle of wine day. So please tune in. I've got 4 left. You can figure out which one I'm going to drink. That'll be fun. Folks, thanks again for watching. Have a good afternoon, and we'll see you tonight at 7:00. Bye-bye.